Hey, what's up, everybody? I had to touch on this topic today. This is just insane. But if anybody has paid any attention to this Lonzo Ball and his crazy-ass father, what's his name? LeVar Ball or something like that. But Lonzo Ball and his father have been trying to preach to Nike and Adidas and Under Armour. And I even heard Skechers trying to get Lonzo Ball a signature shoe before he plays his first game in the NBA. And, well, today, Lonzo Ball's first signature sneaker was unveiled exclusively by Slam Magazine by the Big Baller brand. Me, myself, I've never owned anything from the Big Baller brand. Most people, I doubt, have. I could be wrong. But Nike and Adidas, Under Armour, and even Skechers had talked to the Ball family that they were not interested in partnering with the the Ball dynasty, let's call it. And Big Baller brand, they have unveiled several photos of what they're calling the new, I guess, ZO2 or ZO2. So I'm not sure. I'm sure it's called like the ZO2. What happened to the ZO1? Why is this straight to the ZO2? Is he going to wear, I guess he's number 2 in college. So I'm guessing that's why they named it the ZO2. But whatever. But we've got several pictures here, as you can see, of this so-called shoe. If you look at it closely, you can see a little bit of Kobe AD inspiration in the shoe, especially with like the toe cap and some of the midsole part, the upper. It just screams Kobe. But then you look back here at the back and you see what looks to be like Skechers Burst, I think is what it's called. Basically like fake Boost or wannabe Boost. It doesn't feel like Boost, doesn't really look like Boost, but it's supposed to be kind of like Boost. And the back of the shoe, here you got your Z and your O, your ZO. But these are called the ZO2s. So here you see your, I don't know what Big Baller brand is trying to call this right here, what this is. You know, they can't call it Boost. They can't call it Burst. Puma calls it, forget what Puma calls it. There's another picture of it. I mean, aesthetically pleasing. I mean, it looks like a Nike shoe when you look at it. Like if you took off this BBB here on the side and took off this wannabe Boost looking kind of material, it would look like a Kobe. So, I mean, aesthetically pleasing, it's not bad, but it just looks like you threw several shoes into one. Here's the Crazy Light Lows. Look at the Crazy Light Lows, especially how like this toe cap here looks on the side. Look at that. Yeah, you know, kind of similar. Look at the back of the shoe. Look at the back of the shoe. Yeah, it's kind of similar, isn't it? Upper, not so much. But then if we go to the Kobe AD, you're looking at this. Look at the structure, the shape of it, the back of it. Damn. It looks a lot alike. I think this is that Skechers Burst. I think that's what they're calling this. But this is pretty much, if you just look at kind of like the fake-ass looking Boost kind of whatever on it. It's, you know, kind of similar. Kind of. And then, boom. So if those three shoes, if they mated, your Crazy Light Low, your Kobe AD, and your Skechers Burst, this is what it would look like right here. This is the love child of those three shoes. Very interesting. And what's even crazier is I read that the ZO2 or the ZO2, or whatever they're going to call them, the ZO2 will retail at $495. Yes, $495 for this shoe. Okay, what technology in this shoe validates a price tag of $495? I mean, you're talking, this is the resale price of the last Yeezy V2, the triple whites that dropped last week. This is pretty much like the resale price on that shoe. Hell, I mean, for $500, you could go buy a pair of the Kobe 80s, the Crazy Light Lows, Skechers Burst, and still have probably, what, $200 left? Maybe $150 left after all that was purchased? I would love to see what's the reasoning behind the price point. And actually what's crazy too, most shoes, like men's size shoes, 7 through size, let's say 18, they're like all the same price point. They'll be at a price point of, let's say, the Jordan, let's say Jordan 12 price points at $190 for all the sizes. But the big baller brand ZO2, if you wear size 14 or 15, the price increases to $695 retail. So I guess men's size 7 through 13 is $495. Men's sizes 14 and 15 is $695. So I'm not sure who's actually running this big baller brand and what kind of logic they're using for these price points and the construction of this shoe. But obviously, Lonzo Ball and big baller brand have been in talks for quite some time because the shoe's been, it's done, it's designed, and kind of the sample has been released. So I don't know who came up with this idea, but here's even something else. For the very, very low price of $995, you can even get your shoes signed by Lonzo Ball for $995. So they just made it even sweeter. I'm kind of curious, does anybody plan on buying this shoe for some reason? Are you waiting for it to go on like a deeply clearanced price of like $50? Because I could see this shoe probably hitting the Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Ross, those kind of places for probably like $50, maybe even cheaper than that. But if anybody wants to pick this shoe up, I'm kind of curious why and at what price point are you willing to pick this up. Has anybody heard the story yet that just broke actually today also about the Uptempo and Supreme collaboration that came out last week, the Sup-Tempos as people are calling them? And as you see in this picture, it is covered in mold and mold spores and just really disgusting looking just nastiness. I know Jordan Brand from time to time I've read that it has to do with where they store their shoes at, because as most people know, sometimes Jordan Brand will make shoes like 6 months before they even are sold to the public. So your shoe might have been in storage for 6 months. And I guess some of the warehouses where they store shoes, the warehouses can be damp at times, and with the dampness, somehow the dampness and the shoes, mold can grow on the shoes as they sit there for months and months and months in storage. And this young gentleman who got this shoe, he got, I think, one of the worst moldy shoes I've ever seen before that's been sent by Nike or Jordan Brand or any brand. I never really hear much about the mold when it comes to Adidas, Under Armour, or other brands. It's mostly to do with Nike and Jordan Brand. I could be wrong, but that's just what it seems like. But it's pretty crazy what can happen to a shoe whenever it sits in an environment that's not good for shoes. So this is kind of like a warning also to people who will like double up and triple up on shoes at times, and they might put them into like a storage shed for months and sometimes years. So if you rent one of those storage sheds, for like $30 a month, and if you don't check those shoes, after a year or two, your shoes all might be moldy, because a lot of the storage sheds that you rent from these companies, sometimes they're not airtight. They could get damp inside of it depending on the quality of materials used to build the storage units. So if you do store your shoes in a non-climate controlled environment, you might want to check your shoes every couple months just to make sure your shoes aren't full of mold. Because Happens to Nike, could happen to you.